Hello everyone. First, let me check if I am live on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Normally, I am audible on LinkedIn and on YouTube. And what a surprise to realize that this session is right on point because the surprise to realize that I cannot plug my camera from my laptop, but as long as you can hear my voice, it's already amazing. So let me check. I am audible on YouTube. Am I audible on YouTube? Yes, I am audible on YouTube. And I am audible and live on LinkedIn. Normally, yes. So welcome everyone, and also the replay team. I am audible on YouTube and LinkedIn. Yes. And so this is a surprise because I cannot plug my camera until now. Yet I am going to go with the flow and welcome everyone on the comments. And a bit later on, I will allow to receive the surprise of you being on stage. And we shall receive the surprise to welcome Jay in few instead. But for now, I'm going to dive in the eighth rule of the engagement and storytelling. So here are the different subsections. Understand, understanding the surprise and the delight, the psychology of surprise and delight, emotional resonance, cognitive dissonance, novelty and stimulation, not simulation, please. That's a lapsus. Novelty and stimulation, then sense of mastery, then crafting surprising twists. Ta, 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 ta. Then examples of surprise and delight in literature, and then same in film and televisions. Then incorporating into different genre, then the element of timing is important, and then cultivating emotional resonance, then target practice with the narrative navigation. That's something that is common in every of the 10 rules and chapters. Then keyword, search, and integration. That's for the SEO part. Very curious to know that surprise and delight with a relation if SEO. And then content, optimize content structure and formatting. And at last but not least, create high quality shareable content. That's for the SEO part. So let me know in the comments, oh, how you doing? I am having a lot of surprises recently, even a few minutes ago, with my camera that I cannot really share until now. So I don't know who it will be able to show me on camera. And let me welcome Jay in few seconds. Let's have a sense of surprise. So, my friends, what a surprise to begin this session with a lot of surprise. Are you in delight? Sorry for that. Surprise to having a bit like discomfort in my eyes and in my nose, but this is the unexpected surprise for me. So, let me sip my coffee and let me welcome you on the comments. How are you feeling, my friends? Let me know. This is really on point. Never imagining to have some surprises just before running this session. And if you are not seeing me on camera, this is what it is. I'm going to solve this, of course, as much as I can. But I give you this surprise. So we are on live and going with the flow. And as Keith mentioned, I still have not my perfect equipment, my perfect camera, my perfect mic. But I think the fact that the fact the camera was not showing was really on purpose, I think, because right now I feel a bit uncomfortable. So I don't want to put the stress of me showing my discomfort on top of the session, but all will be fine. Long story short, while I was washing some dishes, I had a drop of soap in my eye. This is bringing me comfort, but I realize that the more I stretch, the difficult the situation is. So I'm rather now to dive in that, trying to not touch my eye. So, in fact, the fact that the camera was not working right now could be inconfort, but for me, it's a blessing because I am not feeling at my 100% right now, but I am doing the session anyway. And so, hopefully, that Mr. J can give us the amazing surprise and delight of his presence. Let me know in the comments. I see Juicy, grazie mille, Juicy from Ireland, and that's fine indeed. The show must go on. So, the eighth rule of engagement, surprise, and I'm all over the place, and I'm happy to make this happen, no matter what. For the context, I decided on my own to invite Jay for these 10 weeks of talking about his book, The Rules of Engagement in Storytelling. It was my desire because I realized that with this book club, if I don't do that, there is a great chance that I don't read the book. Yet, week after week, even though I don't read all at 100%, I read them all, chapter after chapter. So we are on the eighth rule. There is still 2 weeks to go for the ninth and the 10th rule. The videos are there, so feel free to watch the videos whenever you want. Although I know that time is our precious resources, and I might do a little wrap up video about these 10 sessions because it's about 10 hours or even more. The blessing to have more than 10 hours with Jay, that's invaluable. And this time today, I will kind of have to wrap up at 55. So we have still 47 minutes for this session. And while we are waiting for Jay to join, let me express my delight and my surprise of listening today to two amazing speeches during Bear's session. The first was about job grief, job loss, and the second one was about how to shine with social media with the Twitter goddess Sam Kelly. And so today I am delighted. And so, what is surprise for you? I am delighted to have some of you in the audience and the others in the replay team. Feel free to tell us what does mean surprise and delight when it comes to a story and a movie, for instance. I can quote some examples. Yes, indeed, you were there, Juicy. This session was very, very good, and it was the week the week of the woman to celebrate women. So amazing. And so when it comes to storytelling and surprise and the like, what is interesting is that surprise could be also negative. But of course, the audience is really blessed to have the positive surprise. Yet, surprise, in fact, can turn negative or positive. It's really real neutral, because it's participating to the arc of the storytelling. Let me change a bit my position because I decided to stand up and not to be sitting on my couch, so I have to readjust. So I was having some examples. One of the example was The Lord of the Ring with Frodo, Sam Gamgee, and especially Gollum, Smeagol. And Gollum is the name of the hobbit, and Smeagol is the name of the beast, the monster. And for those that are not knowing Lord of the Ring, well, you have to see at least some extract because this trilogy is incredible. It's from originally Tolkien, written by books. And although the book is not similar to the movie, probably also because it's not easy to cover these three books or more. I don't know how many books he wrote about that, but there is a Hobbit, and now there is also the Pursuit of Smeagol. There is a film in preparation where they will have to use computers because they will have to use the same actors like 20 years after. And at the end, Smeagol was appearing before going to the volcano. So we are now having the surprise to welcome JP, Jay Pascua. Welcome.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. This is a pure surprise to see you, and also on top of the point to me to be for the first time this off camera.
Yeah, I don't know why, but the my phone is not allowing me to be seen, I guess.
Well, same for me. I don't know. That's a surprise. That's on point. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
there I am.
oh, there you are. I still cannot see myself, but I'm not going to refresh my screen. I will go with the flow and be off camera. And guess what? It was like a surprise for me because I was expecting, okay, let me show myself on camera. I am ready. I'm prepared. I'm beautiful. But it is what it is. So, how are you feeling, dear Jay?
I am excited. Um, I I'm part of something right now that is going to be uh, a new journey for me. So um, I'm actually out in the middle of the woods. Um, I will show you around, but I'm afraid I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose connectivity. Um, but I am going to be helping grow a nature center into a destination. And so, as part of that, I'm now out here kind of surveying the property and working on helping them do this. So, big things to come. But
Wow.
yes. And so, you know, every time I saw you and you posted something about walking in the woods, it made me kind of jealous, to be honest, because I haven't been going out in nature for the most part for a few years now. And now I get the opportunity to be in the middle of nature and have an office there as well to help grow this nature center, 1,200 acres.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so, um, and really, this opportunity came along as a result of storytelling.
Wow. Was it a surprise for you?
Complete surprise. Complete
And
surprise.
are you in delight about that?
Surprised and delighted. Yes.
Wow, that's on point. You after the seventh rules about emotions, you are now in surprise and delight and in awe also.
Yes. And really, I'm not, I wasn't, it, it wasn't planned. It was completely a true surprise. I'm not, this is not even a marketing ploy. Um, but um, the opportunity fell into my lap and I couldn't turn it down. And my my spirit really wants to be out here in nature experiencing it. And now I get the best of both worlds because I'm going to be having an office in the middle of this. There's going to be Wi-Fi out here in the woods. So that's going to be great. But yeah, the eighth rule is a really important rule when it comes to keeping your audience engaged. You want to make sure that they're they're captivated and they want to figure out what's going to happen next. And surprises help you to do that, right? I will tell you that one of there's so many movies that have plot twists in them, right? You can name a few, and a lot of people across the globe will agree. One of the ones that I agree with was The Sixth Sense.
Oh yeah, this one, my friend.
That to me was really good storytelling. Many times in this LinkedIn event, I've talked about how Renee, my wife, and I can see almost what's going to happen next. And when the movie actually comes to the point where it does reveal who the killer was or what happened, right? Is it going to go in the favor of the antagonist or protagonist? Renee would and I would look at each other and say these words: I wrote this because we saw it coming, right? The Sixth Sense, I was totally engrossed in what was happening to the young man and didn't realize, by the way, spoiler alert, what was happening to the adult. I think it was a psychiatrist or psychologist. And when it was revealed at the end, again, spoiler alert, that he was also a ghost, blew my mind. It blew my mind.
Yes, yes.
And it's because I was so stuck on the story of what was happening to what Haley Joel Osment, I think his name is. Um, his character and what was going on with him, that I completely ignored what was happening with the other character. Um, it was that type of story that I loved. Here's it goes back to my childhood reading. I don't know if it was popular in Europe, but it definitely was in America. The choose your own adventure books.
Yes, in French, le livre dont vous êtes le héros. That's it. And these were my. I had some magazines when I was a toddler, a baby, and a child, but these books changed my life. I was 8 or 7 years old. I was playing with the dice. I was being my own hero. And then I was amazing, Maze, because it was a maze. Like, and I was keeping track of my path because at some point, oh, dun, 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 you turn the wrong dice, you are killed. But I don't want to be killed and to begin at the beginning. So I was keeping track of my tracks. So like, okay, let me change your this decision, changing, going back in the maze and choose a new path. And what I like is the quality of words. It's like the main books were affordable to read for children, but and at the same time having new words and captivating through this story, being part of an adventure that you are your own hero. I love these books, my friend.
See, and this is why you and I are brothers, because there's so many things that align with us, and this was one of them. So, and that even though you got to choose your own adventure and go back like you did, you were always surprised and always delighted at what was going to happen next, right? The ability to choose where you wanted to go and see how the story would play out, whether it be this way or that way, choosing this door over that door, going left instead of going right this time. You were surprised. Even even if you were the one, here's the caveat, right? And the point. Because you were so immersed in the story, those surprises were extremely delightful. And that's the essence of surprise and delight. You want to surprise your readers enough that they're not turned off, that they're going to continue to stay engrossed and engaged in your story. And these twists, the plot twists, the turn of events, those things allow people to really go, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? When you get them to the point where they're asking that question, surprise and delight is really, you've got to understand this rule completely. So,
Yes.
what are your thoughts?
Well, I was scraping to the different sections of this eighth rule, and I noticed some words really interesting. And thank you for bringing also your culture because I knew new words in your own culture. That's what is amazing when you are talking a story. You are also talking about yourself, your DNA, or Chamorro culture. So I was acknowledging a new word like Tao Tao Tano, which is a drum, I think. And magical spices, flavors, captivating, strategic maneuver. So that's something that I have to tap more my energy in because I am an instant guy. Strategic maneuver. I have to tap into this energy because I'm like, woo, woo, let's go it right now. And strategy is not really until now my muscle, but I can develop it. So unexpected turns for the better. That's interesting because there are also surprises that are bad. I was recalling the scene with Frodo and Sam Gadji when they were going finally to the volcano, and boom, bada boom, who is going to surprise the audience? Gollum, that says, "Oh, you are not done yet with me. I am there." And so that was a surprise. That was not a delight. But this is the part of the arc of storytelling. There's the arc of ups and downs. I cannot do it visually right now with my camera off, but so it's really to have the arc of storytelling with the ups and downs and ups and downs. So, and what I like also is that for our audience, the magic word is investment. They invest their time, they invest their emotions, their attention, their engagement. And that's a true gift. That's the true gift because this is not turning into money, into KPI numbers. You cannot really uh, have a metric about that, but you can just have that on words like what are their feedback. That's why on some movies on cinema there were some people out of the room saying, what do you think about this movie? What are your thoughts? What did you like? What did you dislike? So investment in attention, emotion, and engagement. And then wow, dopamine, emotions, and reconcile conflicting information. I would like to tap more into that because I'm really curious to know more about what does it mean, reconcile conflicting information, about resolution. Thank you.
So, but that's talking about my language, right? So, Tao Tao Tano, Tao Tao is people, Tano is land. So, people of the land, Tao Tao Tano. And it's so appropriate because I'm out in the middle of the woods, right, in this land, but there's a drum that people use um, in cultural dances and cultural performances that they call it the people of the land drum. This is the drum that we play in honor of the people of the land because we are the people of the land. And so that's what I talk about in the book and what that means. Um, but surprise and delight is a tool, right, that keeps people wanting to learn more. They want to stay longer because they're, oh, I didn't expect it. What's going to happen next, right? That what I was talking about. That's the mindset that you want them in. Wow, I never saw that coming. When you have a story that is mundane, it's boring. To be very honest, to be very transparent, if you don't have these somewhat twists and turns, people are going to say, let me, this doesn't captivate me. It doesn't, I'm not wanting to learn what's going to happen next because I already know. I kind of figured out what the plot was from the very beginning. Um, so I want I want people to maintain their level of interest and investment. And so how do I return that investment? I give them these subtle twists in the story. in Hollywood, when you're doing a movie, there's story arcs. There could be the main story arc of the movie, and then each character has their own character arcs. So these to put it in another way, it's the human part of us that wants to understand why that happened, right? Why is this happening? Is this going to change? Is it going to get better? What's going to happen next? I'm saying it again because I just kind of want to drive home the point. I put it in this framework. The movie made The Matrix. In the movie The Matrix, the hero of the movie is trying to figure out what's going on and how can he fit in all of this reality and unreality, right? The Matrix. And at some point, he's given the knowledge of what happened with the first iterations of the Matrix. So it said in the movie, it said that the Matrix existed prior to the hero coming around, Neo, but it failed multiple times. And it failed because everything was a utopia. It was peaceful. It was great. There was no struggle, no adversity, no twists or turns. And so people, by their very nature of being human, according to the movie plot, they said they were rejecting the story that the Matrix was putting in front of them, the alternate or virtual reality that it was placing, essentially turned them off to what was going on. And so it failed. But when they started putting in struggle, adversity, war, you know, battles, arguments, things like that, then human beings were like, oh, okay. They accepted it. They accepted that there's a negative and a positive side to things, but it can't all just be mundane, is what I'm saying. And the story or the moral or the lesson that I learned is it's the same thing when it comes to storytelling. That's why soap operas were so important and part of society for a very long time in America, because that's what people were into. That's what they understood, that this is part of life. Drama is part of life. But at the same token, it doesn't always have to be a negative side to it or a dark side to it. It just has to be surprising enough. It doesn't always have to be all about adversity. But the point is, it can't be mundane, because by human nature, we just like, this is not for me. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense, right? And unless that's your goal as an individual who's in the audience, to get to nirvana or to get to where things are mundane, people want to see the human condition in their characters, because we can relate to it. We can relate to the adversity somebody else is experiencing, the drama that may be occurring in their lives. It may not be to the extent that we know it or go through, but we know drama, we know adversity, we know struggle, we know all these things. So when we see it in characters, we automatically can align with what they're experiencing, or we can resonate with what is being said in the story. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing that. And we are welcoming Juicy. Welcome, Juicy, on stage. Thank you for engaging with us on stage. That's a true blessing. So now I'm going to yield the mic to Juicy. Please introduce yourself and ask any question or giving any comment to Jay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hi, Jay. Nice to meet you. Sorry for probably I didn't mute my mic. Sorry about that, Holly, when
it's
I
okay.
joined. A bit of a... Yeah, okay. So, first of all, thank you for inviting me. I think this is my first one and I'm attending. So, this is very valuable, Jay, to hear that and the story. And actually, I think I'm going to watch again The Sixth Sense because I don't remember. So it'll be nice to watch it again. I watched it a long time ago. My question to you, Jay, would be, well, it's kind of probably broad question. First of all, sorry, I'm introducing myself. I'm losing here, I'm missing an important point. So my name is Juicy. You pronounce just you, Jay. Okay, it's Italian for Josephine. I live in Ireland, but I am Italian. Been living in Ireland for 19 years, so quite a while. I'm currently attending a course to become a coach and a mentor, and I'm enjoying very much. I'm not working at the moment, but hopefully this will be my next work. I am trying to network as much as possible, meet my brand on LinkedIn, and just trying to find my space. What I really like about you is about the storytelling, because I have a passion for writing as well. Actually, I'm writing a few things. Asking you tips for that will be too broad now, of course. But I don't know, like, if you think of yourself when you started the first time, how did it happen? Did you just take your pen and write, or and put thoughts together? Or is something that you'll have to think through before start? I don't know if it's making sense what I'm asking here. Like, it's still too broad.
No, no. Yes. So the best way I can answer that is I started at the end and I deconstructed my thoughts. What did I want to
Mm,
accomplish? I had to ask myself, what do I want to accomplish with what it is that I intend to write?
mm, mm,
So that was my first question. And so that had me starting at the end. When I started at the end,
mm.
I then had a clearer picture of what it is I needed to put down into paper for me. And I and that's how I started really thinking about my book. The book is The Rules of Engagement in Storytelling. And the very first rule is know your audience. So once you have a clear picture of what it is you intend to write, and then you need to know who are you writing it for. Know your audience. Once you have
Okay.
those two things, then that's where I was like, okay, now I'm going to go ahead. And every step of the way, I have 10 rules. And every step of the way, I kept honing down my message because I was really listening to all of my 10 rules. Now, for you, the best way I can say this is once you have those two things in mind, the end, who, what it is that you
Mm,
intend to do with the story, and who your audience is, just start writing. Get where, however
mhm.
you want to do it, whether it be old school like me and writing it down in a notebook or a diary, or going on the
Okay.
computer and writing it in Word or Google Sheets or whatever it is that you want to use. And just putting your thoughts down and write as much as you want and write as often as you can. And then you go back,
Mm,
and I would do this. This is what I would do because I've done this and it helped me. So I write down, I just word, excuse the phrase, I word vomit everything out. I
yeah.
get it all out. And then the next day, before I start writing again, I go back and then maybe streamline what I wrote the day prior, make it more succinct. And then I write the next word vomit and then go back and do the same thing and rinse and repeat every day. Is that helpful?
Absolutely, yes, it is helpful because it's once you said about thinking of your audience and uh, just I was writing a little story for kids, and
Hmm.
I just was putting through the characters and stuff and just writing and typing as I was thinking, but then when I went back to it, I said this is not for kids, so maybe I miss a
Hmm.
point of writing. Probably, but you know what I mean. Probably, I don't know if probably it can also happen that you're just writing. Maybe you are just caught into the telling the story that maybe you don't realize that you're not using the most appropriate way of expressing yourself. You think it's something that can be changed later, or you should really have in the structure already an idea that is for kids. So while you write, you're just correcting yourself on the spot. I mean.
So what whatever you feel is appropriate.
Mm,
So the story that you write may not be the story that you want to write
mm.
may not be the story you publish.
Mm,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
Because you could be sitting there writing with the intent that this is what you want, but as you're writing, you're saying, no, there's something bigger, there's something deeper here with
Mm,
this. And as a creative, I don't like to be boxed into just what my initial thoughts were. I want
mm,
to be able to maybe pivot if I want to have this story told over the story that I wanted to be told in the initial. So
oh yeah, I know what
you,
you mean. Yeah.
oh yeah, you as the writer, the creative or creator, whatever it is with you in your heart, for me, would steer you either back to the original premise or steer you completely away from it. You
Mm,
would have to figure out what is best for you and your audience. And I've done that myself really several times where I had an idea of what it is I wanted to say to my audience, but at the end of it, the story was completely different from what I initially thought it would be. And it made a
so do
much
you think
more
it's
powerful
possible?
message. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, no, sorry to interrupt you, Jay. So is it even possible that maybe as you're speaking, I'm thinking I'll go back to it and I continue writing and I'm vomiting words, as you were saying, all right? Is it even possible that at some point I realize, okay, I probably don't want to write a story for kids here. I want to write something more deep, that is, or you know what I'm getting at, like that is something else that I want to get out. It's not necessarily something that is addressed to that's audience, but the audience needs to change as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Right. And you can always revisit the initial one as a
Mm.
separate story again.
Yeah.
But you, as the creator, you would only be the one to know whether or not it should be a completely different story. And it sounds like you already made up your mind that this is not going to be for kids and there's something deeper here.
Probably, I'd say so. Yeah, the mind is incredible. And okay, can I ask you just one more thing, or we run out of time? Are you have to
Yeah,
go?
Ali would have to be Ali if you're okay. Is that okay?
All,
Oh, you're not on mic.
Yes, yes,
Well,
that's okay. I still have, let's say, 8 minutes.
okay,
yeah,
go
just
ahead.
a very quick. Again, probably I don't know if it applies, but I just curious. How much of yourself, like how much of your experience, do you think you put? Like, because it's kind of sometimes, especially when you want to write about a specific environment, or like, do you put loads, or is there a way to detach from your personal experience when you write a story, an article, or?
I will answer it like this. I've written a story about a villain before,
Yeah.
someone who commits murder.
Yeah.
I've never done that. Don't intend
Okay.
to ever don't intend to ever do that. But at some point, your fingerprint is going to be on the character, and your DNA is going to be embedded in the character.
Hmm.
Now, there's there are ways to detach from the character,
Hmm.
but ultimately, because you are the creator, there's going to be some nuances of things that
Hmm.
are going to be uniquely you.
Hmm.
People there are some people who are able to completely detach and write stories. That's why ghostwriters exist. They can write in the voice of someone else. But ultimately, you bring your thoughts and your ideas to the character. So
Hmm.
there's going to be vestiges of you in those characters. You don't have to be a murderer to write about a villain who's a
Yeah.
you know who's a murderer. But there's going to be some of you in that character, whether it be a thought about culture or politics or something like that, something internal that the character is thinking about or going through. Because you've been there before, it's hard for you not to kind of put those thoughts into your characters when you're writing them.
All right. Yeah, I know what you mean. And thank you. Thank you very much. That was very valuable. Thanks.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you for
welcome. Yeah.
Thank you for joining, Juicy, and feel free to connect with Juicy. You are an amazing person, and so I dropped the LinkedIn. And thank you
Thank
also
you.
for connecting with Jay. He is also an incredible human being, living in his purpose of storytelling since many, many years already, following his journey adventure. And so, to wrap up, Juicy, in less than a minute, uh, what is your takeaway and what are your next steps in your life?
Me? You mean, sorry, Ollie.
Yes, yes,
You mean my takeaway after this session, or in general?
yes, yes, yes.
My takeaway, there are a couple of things that really stick with me, like on the engagement part of the keeping the person in a two spans, when you write something, because I really like doing that. So it's something that I will definitely keep in mind for the future, because in fairness, there's not many movies or stories, as you were discussing earlier, that you can remember that you were really not getting to the final, to the outcome at the end. So it's definitely, it still goes to communication and the way that we express ourselves at the end of the day. So definitely this is important again, for me. And for the future, now, of course, the coach diploma is, and I'm actually finding lots of similarities as well when I write, because when you study coaching and mentoring, you study intuition, you study, there's so many things that you can definitely bring in writing as well. So yeah, I hope anyway overall that I will be able to connect you with you all, and just that I'm sure that you can teach me loads of things, definitely, you all.
In fact, we
Yeah,
are teaching each others.
yes.
We are teachers and learners. So now,
Oh yeah.
Jay, feel free to wrap up and to give us your last words, and also to talk about your Jay and Friends move, because recently I was there on Saturday, and you have having a big move.
Yes, that's right. Um, you know, from time to time, right, things can happen, and so I'll talk a little bit about that. But I I'm living in my purpose of helping people tell their story, and I can really relate to what you're trying to do, Juicy, in becoming a coach, because ultimately, as a coach, you're sharing your story, and your clients are sharing their story with you, and ultimately, we're contributing to the story of humanity, right? And as a coach, you're always going to want to help them in a positive way. And if I can help someone live in their purpose, that to me would be ultimately what I wrote the book for in the first place. Why I'm a storytelling strategist. And if storytelling is going to help me help someone else in the way that a coach would, right? That to me is just as important as writing the book itself. So I can definitely relate to you in wanting to be in wanting to be a coach. When I would talk to clients, that that's what brought this up in the beginning, was I would always share my story of surviving a tornado, and sharing that story and encouraging others to tell their story so that it can help people, right? Ultimately, when we share our stories, people can look at it as an example to help them through whatever it is they're going through, adversity, or maybe trying to get their next promotion. But when I came to that conclusion, it was as a result of sharing my story and other people encouraging me to share it with others as well. So everything I talk about, everything that I'm doing, I've lived, and it's part of the example that I want to show others so that they can help others as well. It's it's circular in that sense that it's all come around. It's I've People have impacted me, and I've impacted them, and it all stems from one thing: storytelling. And as a coach,
Jay, that you basically, uh,
yeah,
you coached me just now. Sorry, because you just were able. When you asked me the questions, I was taken a bit by surprise. So I answer, But you basically, by saying this, you just helped me get out what I probably wanted to say when Ollie asked me the question. It was, I want to help others. For years, I believed that I had to do something more practical in the sense that work in a corporation or that's good. But now maybe I believe that it's possible that I'm going through this change in my life. That's my answer, because I like helping. Because when you coach, you do helping others achieve their potential, their so thank you anyway, because you actually did a bit of a coaching session in this last thing that you said. So thank you.
Uh,
This, my
bellissima.
friends, this,
Grazie, grazie.
yeah. Bellissima, grazie mille per la tua presenza. And that was the essence of this session, surprise and delight. And I have just a minute to wrap up for myself before I log off. Just saying that I am doing my 42 days language marathon. Today, this evening, it will be the day number 9, talking about the vehicles. I'm doing also each Tuesday and Saturday the Refrench Your Brain, and I'm doing my best to live into my purpose and my mission to elevate each other's two languages. We can be warriors, the warrior of words. So with that, my friends, I'm going to log up right now because I am hurrying up for another session in 4 minutes. And wish you well, both of you. Thank you so much for the surprise and the delight of your presence. And keep shining, everyone.